Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soul Stained Ink. My name is Beth, and I just thought I would come up here, come speak to you and talk about my day because today was the first day with my students for this school year. Now, I don't know if you remember this from when you were in school or, if you're a teacher, if you deal with kids at school. I don't know if you've noticed, but the first few days are kind of everyone on adrenaline. We're not back on the right sleep schedules yet. Everybody's changing classes, getting used to the new schedule, all that jazz. So the first few days of school, you're riding this high and you're like, it's gonna be amazing. These kids are great. These kids are half asleep. That's why they're so great. However, I can semi confidently tell you that I am really excited to have these kids in my class and work with them and grow with them this year. We had a really good first day. There are definitely already some things that we're going to have to work on, like communication. Um, I told all my kids today it is my job as your English teacher to not just help you learn to read things and analyze things and understand things, but to help you learn how to communicate. Okay? We talk in class. I'm not the only one talking, or I shouldn't be the only one talking, but we have to learn to do it respectfully and appropriately. So if I'm talking and you interrupt me to say something that has nothing to do with our lesson, that's a problem. If I'm lecturing and you're like, hey, Tyree, I have a question, I don't understand, whatever, that's okay. When I open up the floor for discussion, if you say something and your friend over here banters with you and y'all are kind of building the idea, that's awesome. If you say something and somebody cuts you down, roasts you, whatever, that's not so great. Unless what you said deserves to be roasted, in which case y'all all in high school, so whatever. Um, Speaking of that, last year I taught 7th and 12th grade English. Okay. 2 years ago, I taught 8th through 12th English. And those kids, it wasn't even those kids. There were a couple of kids in a couple of classes that were just not the greatest. Um, but I tried to work with them. I tried my best, and they're just that kind of kid. Um, but administration where I was at kind of wore me down. And there were some issues, and I ended up thinking I should never teach high school again. When those kids came into my class today, just first day, I know them from last year, from being around them last year. I had a couple of them throughout the day that were in my high school music classes last year. But on the whole, I didn't, I didn't interact with the ones that are sophomores, juniors, seniors. Most of them I didn't interact with as much, other than going to their games, cheering them on. But when they came in, and we started doing, I had a little discussion thing that we did first before we started talking about the rules and my expectations and whatever. They came in and we started doing it, and it felt right. It felt comfortable. It felt like what I needed to be doing. Okay. And that is 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. So I am so thankful that I did not just go, no, you're not moving me up to high school English. You can put me in junior high and hire someone else, or I can go find a different job. Because I did consider that last year. And instead, I was like, no, I'm going to do it. They need me to do it. I'm going to do it. And as of today, which is, again, the first day, I am so grateful that I did not let my depression and anxiety win out, because this is going to be an absolutely banging year. Speaking of that, we are not doing any literature this week in any of my classes. We are a 4-day-a-week school. We started on a Tuesday, so we've got today, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then we're done for the week. I'm not starting a whole unit on Thursday. However, we talked a little bit today in each of the classes about what the first unit is and how we're going to go about things. tomorrow we're going to set up our writing journal, and then I'm going to, like, they get to decorate the front cover. We're going to put it together just kind of loosely, because as the year goes on, we'll add more compartments and do things. And we're going to start talking about how best to study for our own unique individual needs. We're going to talk about how to take notes, how to do all these things. And I'm going to give them the option for me to teach them how to take different kinds of notes, or for them to, or for me to just do like a glossing over of how you take the different kinds of notes, and they can choose for themselves what is best. We're going to talk about, do you need to-do lists? Do you need a planner? And we can set all of that up in class. So we're going to do that in class tomorrow. I have 55-minute classes. So we'll do all of that in class tomorrow and maybe a little bit on Thursday. And then they've got a fun little deal to work together and decide who gets to leave a deserted island and who has to stay, and hope that the people who leave are able to bring people back to this uncharted deserted island. But then next week, let's see, my seniors, the first unit, because they have British literature, the first unit is, I think it's called What is a Hero or something like that. But basically it's medieval literature. We start with Beowulf and King Arthur. However, I love Beowulf. They don't particularly need to know how to analyze Old English at this point. Seamus Heaney and his translation is amazing, and we are going to look at it. We're also going to use a graphic novel. We are going to look at different pieces of adaptations. We are going to discuss it, and we are going to discuss how this version, this story of Beowulf, was the one that became written down, because according to what we know as of right now, Norse mythology and Christianity are approximately the same age. In fact, Christianity may be older. I think that Norse mythology is older than we think it is, and we just haven't found the right archaeological site yet. But what we do know is that Beowulf, they talk about God and Cain and all that, but in using Viking and Norse mythology. So there are crossovers there. The person who first wrote it down was a Catholic priest. So this story would have been changed from the oral tradition to fit the Catholic tradition. So we're going to kind of delve into that, because it is very important for them to see how language and religion and migration and wars, how that changed the literature that we have today. And then we get to do King Arthur. They don't seem as excited about it as I am, but that's fine. I'm always excited about this. We're going to actually take Beowulf, King Arthur, and Norse mythology and Celtic mythology, and do all this together. If you were around last year, 2 years ago maybe, I did a summer course and created a whole unit around Beowulf, King Arthur, Norse mythology, and Celtic mythology, and how they all go together. And so we'll be using the textbook and that unit to meld them. Juniors are American literature. Our first week, I'm actually contemplating having them look up and do research and presentations, and they're going to hate me. But their American literature and their textbook starts at British colonization. So I don't want to start with Puritan literature. I want to start with them knowing who was here. And so I think we're going to start with Native American mythology and then move into puritanical literature. And then we get to do the Crucible, so that makes me happy. If I work it right, we can do the Crucible in October, which will make me triple happy. Then we've got sophomores. Sophomores start with Gothic literature. So the first short story we're going to read is The Fall of the House of Usher. They're going to be creeped out, and it's going to be delightful. There are 2 short stories, that and another one I don't remember the name of, something like Behind the Door or something like that. Freshmen, we will be talking about survivors, survivor guilt, survivor stories, and doing some research with that. And then eighth graders, we're starting with personal narratives. And I don't remember anything about what's in the textbook for that, except for the fact that this is the third year that I'm teaching it, and I hate it, so we're not going to use what's in there. Uh, we're going to use a different memoir. But that is what we'll be working on in class. And then right now I am listening to the audiobook for Ghostlight, and then I will be reading The Little Prince for the Classic Children's Literature Book Club book pick of August. If you want to join us in that, it's a very short book, and the Discord is linked down below. I just wanted to come on and tell you guys how excited I am for the year, and I can't wait to share more with you about it. I hope that if you are attending school or have someone that is attending school or teaching school in your life, that you and they are having an amazing time. And if you have nothing to do with school anymore, I still hope that you're having an amazing time. But, you know, you're missing out because it's going to be an amazing year. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Until next time, stay safe. Bye.